What's up, y'all? I'm Tim Leak, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and finance. And in this video, I want to address the landlord hate train that's been going on TikTok and now on YouTube. And I want to look at a few comments I've gotten, react to a few clips, and give my perspective from the point of view of a Section 8 landlord. And I do agree that there are some slumlords out there, and some landlords may come off as very offensive, but a lot of these anti-landlordians group us all together, call us names like evil parasites, and say we're all going to hell. So I'm going to address a few things, and make sure you stay to the end because I got a very important challenge that I'm proposing to a lot of these landlord critics online that I doubt any of them take me up on. Alright, so let's get to it. So like I said, I'm a Section 8 landlord, and I do my very best to try to convince others to become Section 8 landlords, whether it's by always talking about the benefits of Section 8, promoting financial freedom, or shooting fun content with me and my wife, hoping others will become interested. So I started posting on TikTok not too long ago, and a video I posted titled, How I Got a Free Section 8 Rental Property, went viral, and got 1 million views within 2 days. Now obviously I didn't just get a free house without doing any work or putting any money up, but I explained how the money I put up to purchase and renovate the house was all returned back to me with a cash out refinance, and I was able to keep the house as a rental property, which is now being rented to a low income family on Section 8, and how the money I got back was used to get another property that will be rented to another low income family on Section 8 as well. I was trying to show people a creative way to invest in real estate and also provide affordable housing to those in need. Now most of the commenters were supportive and intrigued, but then there were some who were totally against landlords no matter what, and if they weren't so closed-minded, blinded by ignorance, or weren't just looking for someone to blame, they'd see that them and I are actually fighting the same fight. It's just that they're talking about it on camera or behind a computer, and I'm actually out in the field doing something about it, getting my hands dirty, and not insulting other people in the process. Yes, we both believe that there are problems with housing in this country. Housing is expensive, whether you're renting or buying. It's a homeless crisis that's getting out of hand, and something needs to be done about it. And even if people have vouchers, Section 8 tenants can't find landlords to rent to them because of the stigma, and a lot of them are going homeless as well. And that's why I'm a huge advocate and promoter of the Section 8 program. Like I said, I always mention all of the benefits of Section 8, hoping to convince people to consider the program. But the main benefit is that you're providing affordable housing to someone who may have been on the verge of homelessness. And that's one of the main reasons why I do what I do, to help out low-income families. And this has always been my stance. You can go back to my very first Section 8 video 3 years ago. Now the last benefit I will talk about, which might not be the most popular, but it is to me, and that's the fact that you get to do something positive that can really impact someone's life. This is an opportunity you're providing that can really change how a child grows up. As investors, we obviously want to make a return on our investment. But honestly, money comes and goes. You're actually changing someone's life and improving their circumstances. This makes me feel good morally and motivates me to keep helping people, which ultimately gives me the most satisfaction. So I've always had this attitude. I've always been trying to convince landlords to rent to Section 8. But even still, there are just some people who are completely against landlords of any kind.
Let me just say this. Yes, all landlords. There's no condition on that, okay?
Now they have the right to feel how they feel, but I do believe that it's a lot of misinformation that's being spewed, and I want to clear that up. So one commenter on my viral TikTok video on how I got a free Section 8 rental property said, did you give it away for free as well, or are you just raising value in the area? So obviously he's being sarcastic, but none of my Section 8 tenants pay me any money. Their portion of me is $0. The money I get is from the housing authority, and it's all reinvested into the next property to turn that into a quality Section 8 rental as well. But the second half of his comment is pure ignorance. Or are you just raising value in the area? He obviously doesn't know how the value of homes in an area are determined. And I can't blame him because he probably listened to anti-landlord TikTokers and YouTubers with the platform and heard them saying false information as well.
Being a landlord is not a job. You do not add any value to anything except your own bank account. Do you know that when you add value to your bank account, you are taking it from somewhere? It doesn't just magically appear tax-free after your refinance. Prices everywhere, not just in San Francisco and London and New York, everywhere have gone up because of this little grift.
Now this is not true. The value of homes in an area aren't determined or affected by the refinance of another home in that same area. Appraisers look at the sale of similar homes and compare those homes that sold to the house that they're appraising. They don't look at refinances. So when someone refinances, they're not affecting the property value in that area. In fact, the property value in the area is what affects the refinance. And if you believe that when investors buy houses, it affects the market, well, most real estate investors do everything they can not to overpay for a property.
We're buying most of these off market. All these clowns that are asking for, $100,000 over appraised value on Realtor.com and Zillow. We don't deal with that. We don't buy retail.
So these comments are not accurate. Landlords aren't raising the property value in an area, no matter how much money they put into fixing up their house, unless they choose to sell that house. But landlords are buying holders. If they said this about fixing flippers, it will make a little bit more sense. Now another commenter said, and now I can't buy a house because I just want to work a job like a regular person and have a meaningful role in society. So this is something else that's going around. The first part of the comment says, and now I can't buy a house. For some reason, people are thinking that landlords are going around buying up all the houses and aren't leaving any for anybody else. This is not true. Out of 230 million homeowners in America, only 22% are landlords. And not all landlords are real estate investors who actively search for real estate to invest in. If you subtract the mom and pop landlords who bought a house, lived there for years, and later on in life decided to buy another one so they rented the first one out, then only 13% of homeowners are actually investors. And it's unfair to blame 100% of any problem going on in the housing market on 13% of the homeowner population. What about the regular working class homeowners who overpay for houses all the time because they want their dream home, which is actually something that drives the prices of homes up? So this is what I mean when I say they just want someone to blame, as if the commenter is blaming me for them not being able to buy a house. And in actuality, every house that I've ever bought, except for one, sat on the market for months. And the one that didn't sat on the market for 2.5 weeks, which is still a long time for a house to sit on the market. Anybody could have placed an offer on it, but people usually don't want fixer-uppers. But you can't blame me for buying a house that no one wanted and then putting in the work as if it's one less house that you're unable to buy, when in fact, anyone could have bought it. It feels like you're just looking for someone to blame. And the last part of the comment said, I just want to work a job and have a meaningful role in society. A lot of people feel like landlords don't do anything and are meaningless.
They do not add anything to society, but they do accumulate wealth.
Well, to their credit, some landlords are slumlords, do the bare minimum, and are only concerned with padding their pockets. But certainly all landlords aren't this way. And coming from a Section 8 landlord who makes it his duty to provide affordable housing and have a positive impact on low-income families at a time when voucher holders are literally going homeless, I beg to differ. Now this next commenter had a lot to say. This video is literally just proof if you have throwaway money, you can buy up property and sustain an already ridiculous renter's market. The renter's market, which you are enabling and upholding, is literally designed to make sure people never save up enough money to even go in debt to a bank to own a home. You can think you're inspiring all you want. You are just a landlord. Your job is exploitation. This commenter had a lot to say and is the epitome of ignorance through and through, because she has no idea what she's talking about. Starting with, if you have throwaway money, to automatically just label me as someone who has money to just buy whatever I want. If I had throwaway money, I wouldn't be doing all these damn renovations myself. Trust me, none of the money I have or have ever had is throwaway money. I damn sure wasn't born into wealth or given any handouts. And you think the money I saved is throwaway money? But anyway, she doesn't know me, so whatever. But she says, I'm sustaining a ridiculous renter's market. I'm a landlord and my job is exploitation. And even though I explained to her that I'm a Section 8 landlord, she didn't care, which showed me that she has no idea about Section 8. So let me explain. When a house is rented through Section 8, the market isn't dictated by the Section 8 rental. In fact, the Section 8 rental is dictated by the market. HUD sets the fair market rents according to the prices in the market. And then housing authorities perform something called rent reasonableness, where they take the price of non-Section 8 homes, and that's how they determine their payment standards for their Section 8 homes. So Section 8 landlords aren't affecting the rental prices in the market. It's actually the exact opposite. But a lot of these landlord critics are misinformed about Section 8.
But none of these other landlords accept the vouchers that he accepts. So the landlords who do accept them can get even more money from the government than they originally thought, which in turn will drive up the prices of other Section 8 housing nearby.
You can't drive up the price of Section 8 properties or non-Section 8 properties. It's all dictated by the payment standards that the housing authority set, based on the market rents of non-Section 8 houses set by HUD. Now, I do believe a lot of these landlord critics have good intentions. They believe that the housing market in this country is severely flawed and needs to be changed, and I agree. But to solely blame landlords for these problems is ridiculously unfair. And when discussing solutions, a lot of them believe that housing is a basic human need, and instead of having private landlords, the government should provide free universal housing for everyone, not just low-income voucher holders. And as much as I wish this could actually happen, in reality, this is an all-around bad idea, and this is why. So if no one in the country had to pay for housing, which is our biggest expense, then instantly you would see the majority of people quit their jobs immediately. How do I know this? We've already seen it. During the pandemic, renters didn't have to pay rent, homeowners didn't have to pay mortgage, and landlords couldn't evict, and banks couldn't foreclose. What happened next? The Great Resignation, where almost 100 million people quit their jobs. You see, here's the thing. The majority of people actually need a reason to work, and the reason usually is their living expenses. And some of these landlord critics understand this.
While you may not consume your home the way you consume food, you are coerced into working just to keep paying for it. And unfortunately, since your rent is due at the end of every month, you have to keep making money too.
But if you take away their biggest expense, which is housing, then in their mind, they're not gonna have a legitimate reason to work. So now, since the majority of people aren't working, now they're obviously gonna be spending less money. So what does that mean? Now businesses are impacted because businesses are making less money. So the unlucky employees at these businesses who haven't quit yet are either gonna get let go or may receive pay cuts because of the business's finances. And not to mention, since the government is providing everyone houses now, guess what? Taxes are gonna go up like crazy because they got to pay for these houses somehow. After all, who's going to be responsible if the roof starts leaking or if the hot water heater goes out? Or better yet, who's responsible for the landscaping? So the employees who are still working, their taxes are really going to shoot up like crazy, just to make up for the free housing that the government is providing, and also to make up for the millions of people who quit their jobs and are no longer paying taxes. And after a while, the last of employees will realize that the majority of their paycheck is going to the government, and they'll say to themselves, wait, why the hell am I still working? I have a free house to live in. It would literally get to the point where it wouldn't make sense to work. And another question is, who would decide who gets what house? If I have 4 kids and you have 4 kids, why do you get that big corner lot house and I get this little mobile home looking house? How come they get a brand new house but my house is 50 years old? Everyone would be comparing everything, and it wouldn't be long before race is brought into it. You think the division in this country is bad now? Wait until everyone starts feeling like they're owed something or deserving of something without working for it. The entitlement to an already entitled country would be crazy. But these are just some of the things that these anti-landlordians don't think about. There's a cause and effect to everything, and the impact on the economy would be devastating. And now I want to play clips from this one video titled, "Are Landlords Really That Bad?" It's from YouTube. This guy has about 1.6 million subscribers, and a lot of what he says in this video is just not true.
Normally, accumulating wealth is something that's only supposed to happen when you produce wealth. Something that happens when people work.
So off the break, this isn't true. Wealth isn't produced when you work, especially a 9-to-5 labor job. And I get it, he's trying to strike a nerve with the working class and get them riled up like, hey, you guys are supposed to be the wealthy ones. But no, you can work somewhere for 50 years and not accumulate wealth. Wealth comes from investing, and particularly in assets like a business or real estate, not by working a job.
Assuming you flat out ignore that the housing is there already. Other people did the work. It's done.
I wish it were that easy. Once the house is built, then that's it. But no, maintaining real estate can be expensive. He sounds like someone who has never owned a house, because believe me, it's not that simple.
They actively slow the process down and make it more expensive by outcompeting legitimate consumers, all thanks to their privileged financial means. Because landlords are privileged.
Now this statement is total BS. Like I said earlier, most investors don't want to compete with consumers. In fact, a lot of us can't compete with consumers because usually consumers are willing to overpay for a house. Investors can only go up but so much before the deal doesn't make sense. I mean, to his credit, there are some of these big investment firms that might overpay for properties, but usually that's for commercial real estate, high-rise buildings and apartments in which consumers aren't buying anyway. But for residential real estate, usually it's consumers outbidding consumers, which drives up the prices. And then he says, thanks to their privileged financial means. Privileged? Are you serious? Privileged? 300 years ago, I would have been considered property, just like the houses we're talking about. I wasn't born into wealth, just like a lot of other landlords weren't. I'm no trust fund kid. My parents didn't give me any properties. Every house I bought, it was through hard work. Me and my wife worked a combined 25 years at the post office, saving up money to get where we are. To associate me and what I've accomplished with the word privileged is offensive. But then again, I assume he's speaking from his privileged point of view, and not from someone who had to work hard as I did, or not from the point of view from these low-income Section 8 tenants who appreciate that there are people who are purchasing properties just to let them live in it, instead of just talking about it on the internet. But anyway, let's continue.
While you can take out a mortgage to finance buying your home, you will still need to pay a down payment if you want to own a house. And that will need to come from your savings. You can't take a loan out for a down payment pretty much anywhere. That means only someone with enough in their savings can even consider homeownership as an option.
There are plenty of down payment assistance programs, and some lenders will finance the down payments in the loan. More inaccurate information to help support his argument.
Banks will frequently deny people a $500 a month mortgage if they think they're too risky, blaming a low credit score.
You can have an 800 credit score and still not get approved for a $500 a month loan. The credit score more so dictates your interest rate, but your debt to income ratio is what will decide how much you can afford.
They'll pay the down payment because they have enough savings and you don't. Quickly make it back within a few months of renting the property out.
Landlords aren't getting their down payment back within a few months. That usually takes years, but it sounds good though.
Only those born into wealth can skip the renting phase and go straight to the homeownership phase.
Another BS statement. My 18-year-old son wasn't born into wealth, and he's working 2 jobs just to save up to buy his first house. This guy's just talking just to talk at this point, and I'm not gonna even finish the rest of the video because he's obviously biased and has a point to prove and will say anything, whether true or false, just to prove it. However, I do propose a challenge for this guy. According to his social blade, he's making like $8,000 a month from YouTube ad revenue, and I'm positive he's making much more than that because his videos are sponsored and includes paid promotion. And he also has another business that he promoted at the end of the Landlord video. But I challenge him and any other landlord critic out there making videos, instead of just sitting behind a camera criticizing landlords, getting people riled up, why don't you join me in my effort to provide an affordable housing to as many families as I can. You can definitely afford it, so that's not an issue. So if you really are passionate about it and aren't just talking on a video that's monetized, which is padding your pockets, help me do what you believe the government should be doing, which is what the government actually is doing through the Housing Choice Voucher Program and by partnering with landlords like me. But you too can do your part in helping to provide affordable housing to low-income families. Actions speak louder than words. Talk is cheap unless you're talking on a monetized video. But enough with the videos about it. Let's get active. So that's my challenge for you guys. And if you need help with anything in regards to getting properties for voucher holder tenants, reach out to me. It's time for people to start putting their money where their mouth is. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and like always, can't wait to see you guys in the next video.